Read Into It with Robin, a virtual book club.
Hi, welcome to the virtual book club. Every month we get on here and we talk about a different book. This month we are talking about From I Do to We Do, Navigating Marriage in the Parenting Years by Eli Weinstein. And we are lucky enough to be inviting Eli on to talk about his new book release with us. So let me get you added on here. Okay, so let's just give Instagram a minute to kick in with us. If you haven't read this book yet, you're still welcome to comment, join. Okay, hi there. Good, we're on.
Hey, we're on.
We're on. So glad that you could be here.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm looking forward to talking about this. So I ordered it, read it, and I thought that there were so many great communication skills and tips that honestly would be useful for anybody, anyone in a relationship. There's a lot of really good communication tips that really I think everybody could benefit from. And I love how you tailored it specifically to couples, and you have so many examples here of like the way these communication skills can be used for parents who are dealing with newborns, toddlers, and it's just fantastic. So I want to hear a little bit about like what made you decide to do this.
I was asked to. I hate writing. I really do. It is one of my biggest fears. And I would rather like a TV show or, a world podcast or something like that. And through my podcast that I have, a publishing company said, hey, we love your vibe. There's not a lot of male therapists talking about these things that you're talking about. Let's get a book going. And I went,
okay. So the book was born.
And so they said, okay, what kind of topics do you do? What kind of things do you work with? I said, relationships and couples is what I do every day. And I wanted to do a dad's book, but they said no one's going to buy that. So it became a relationship book for couples. And it's just something that, like I wrote in the introduction, started percolating, and the ideas of these concepts that I have in the book is something that I've been thinking about for about 6 years. Now it's going on 7 of like the different things that really hit couples a lot harder when there's a kid in the way and the chaos. But the lessons and the tips run through all relationships. The skills can be utilized for anyone who's dating, thinking about having kids, not thinking about having kids, and just wants to have a successful relationship. But it started out of like my wife and I having a massive meltdown argument because we didn't know how to communicate correctly due to the fact that life pivoted and changed in ways we didn't expect or even really know because we never experienced it before.
Yeah. So you know what I really liked? I think that especially you being like a young dad and you're writing this like from the trenches. And first of all, like that's honestly probably a gift to yourself, like to be able to be so mindful about like what you're experiencing as you're experiencing it. I think that's
a little
really
weird.
Cool.
It was a little weird writing stuff about the tips and tools and then either failing or not being successful with the tools that I'm saying. And also like the joke about or writing about my son and the color of his cup. It happens like every other week. Or, just some of the cutesy stories of poop explosions and things like that. My publisher said, stop all the poop stories. And I said, I can't. It's just my life. So it is something that I really do want to convey, that I am in it as well. I even get asked with my clients like, oh, so you must be perfect in your marriage. And I go, oh, well, I just got into like 3 fights with my wife in the last month. Well, like, yeah, sure, I'm perfect. Like whatever you think. Like, I think it's just really important that the clients and the people that we are, tailoring our work for, whether it's through here, social media, or a book, shouldn't be from this pedestal that we know better and we are better than everyone else. And that's just my vibe of how I write. I write very personal because I am not eloquent, and in my writing, speaking depends on the day and what mood I'm in. But for the most part, it's meant to be a heartfelt. Hey, you're holding my hand. I'm holding your hand through this process.
Yeah, that was actually very much the vibe that I got as I was reading it, because you put so many like personal anecdotes, which honestly I was also thinking like, wow, it's like really vulnerable. Like, good for you. Like, but it made it very readable. Like, you felt like you were getting insight in a relatable way, not like a holier than thou kind of way or anything like that, which I really enjoyed that part. But I was laughing before you said about the poop because I was like, oh yeah, okay, there's a lot of mention of poop in this book. So
Yeah,
that was funny.
there is.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the reality of raising kids, but it
Yeah.
was funny. That stood out to me. But one of the earlier chapters, I think it's on page 25, it's a little earlier even. You wrote, here it is, in chapter 2, page 15. You wrote about Holy Trinity, which I was like, oh, that's like spot on, the most core relationship advice that you can possibly start out with. And I would love to hear you expand on that a little bit about the reality, the expectations, and the perceptions.
Sure. So this is something that I don't know if I don't think I came up with it, but like something that I've been just working with, and it kept coming down to how our expectations are impacting the way that we go into the world. And this is not a new thing. I mean, this is very CBT heavy, the Holy Trinity, it's a triangle, right? If you look in the book,
Right.
there's a little triangle, right? And it is something that I see so often every day for myself, or I see so often every day for my clients where they expect, I'll say a story that just happened this week with a client that they expected to have a fun Sunday with their family, and it was raining, and now they're in a mood, and now they're frustrated, and now they're annoyed, and now they're pissy, and they're walking around their house like harumphing, and their relationship is going to be impacted because they expected to have a fun day with the family. The perception now is everything's a failure, and the reality is life sucks, and now I'm going to take it out on everyone. So the story I give, or the experience that I give in the book, is more of during COVID, right? Or even now that a lot of people work from home, the expectation is that things should get done a certain way because you're from home. I work downstairs, my wife works upstairs. Things should be taken care of. And if they're not, if I expect that and don't communicate that, and I just keep that to myself, thinking that the other person should know that. And that line, keeping it to myself and other people should know that, is what gets us in trouble a lot of the times. Is that in the end, I should know that my wife likes the dishes to be cleaned before bed, unless she tells me.
Mm-hmm.
And if she doesn't tell me, how am I supposed to know that? I
Right.
shouldn't be able to read her
Right.
mind. But if she expects that, and then in the morning she comes out, sees the dishes dirty, and it's not done, oh, Ellie's a lazy bum and doesn't take care of things. He's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There starts building the resentment, the narratives, the things that we start picking up on and seeing. So to me, the holy trinity of the expectations perception trap of
Oh.
how we expect things without communicating and how then we perceive the world around us can
Mm-hmm.
really, if we navigate that smarter, if we navigate it more openly, we can really get rid of probably like 30 to 40% of our arguments and frustrations with our partner, maybe even more,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just like, oh, I don't have an expectation. Here's what I need. Oh, you
Yeah.
can't do that? Okay. Why, what not? And that's a frustrating thing on its own. But it isn't this thing that I expect that the world should happen the way it should happen. And if it doesn't, now everything's a problem. I hear this a lot with clients, with like, parents, right? I
Mm-hmm.
expect my kids to behave a certain way. And then the kid behaves like a 4-year old or a 6-year old or a 9-year old or whatever age your kid is. And they behave the way they should at that age. And now the first thing you have is, oh, so I suck as a parent, or my kid is a problem. How do you think you're going to relate to your kid or yourself after that? After that
Mm-hmm.
narrative or thing that you're building, your story you're building in your head, you're
Mm.
not going to love your kid the same way. You're not going to treat your kid the same way. And we all fall into those traps. And I just call it a cutesy name, the Holy Trinity, because, as an author, you got to make cutesy names.
Yeah, yeah, and you brought together those concepts really well. And you just said something that you had also mentioned in a later place in your book that I was so resonating with, which was about being a mind reader. Your spouse is not a mind reader. Even someone who loves you very much can't read your mind, and it's very tough because people do have a hard time asking for what they want. And also,
Yes.
it's so important because
Especially women and especially moms. So I feel like a lot of men are maybe better at speaking out louder about maybe what they need a little too late. Like
Mhm.
they let it bottle up, but they say it. I feel like women are conditioned to kind of be quiet and kind of keep to themselves, which is not good, and is a thing
Yeah.
that needs to be worked on. The people pleasing and all that kind of stuff. But I think that with the magical thing, I think a lot of people get into the trap. Well, we've been together for X amount of years. I've been married for 10 years, going on 11. I've known my wife for 12. I can guesstimate what a facial expression means. I can guesstimate what mood she's in based on how she ate that day. I can guesstimate a lot of things. So I might be 75 to 80% correct, but it doesn't mean 100% fact. I still need to do my
Mm-hmm.
due diligence and ask questions, right? I still ask, hey, you have a face on, are you okay? Yeah, I'm just really tired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I know,
Yeah.
because it's a coin flip. You could be tired, you could be upset, you could be frustrated, and why you're frustrated and upset could be a multitude of things. You could have had a bad meeting at work. A friend could have told you something. Something could have bad happened to a friend or on the news, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you just woke up in one of those days, and that's okay. And I even do something now with my wife because I have ADHD, and I can sometimes, my regulation is something that I work on daily, and it's not always the best. And dysregulation sometimes happens. Is that if I'm out of place or I'm not in a good headspace, I will actively, for me, say out loud, hey, I really didn't sleep well last night. I'm just in a weird headspace. Or my anxiety is
Mm-hmm.
a little upright today, just so that she knows. And I'm preempting. And that's something to make sure that she is aware of. Hey, this is not about you. I'm in my own mood. And
Mm-hmm.
I get a pushback on some of the suggestions that I had in the book and some of the lives and podcast episodes. Ellie, why are you asking so much of a relationship? You're making us do more work. You're like saying over communicate, over. Yes, because relationships make us, we have to work really hard on them. It's not something that you
Mm-hmm.
just set it and forget it like an Instapot or a crock pot. You have to constantly
Mm-hmm.
be checking and stirring and making sure that it's all the flavors are right. And that is tiring and it is difficult, but your relationship demands it if you want a good
Mm-hmm.
relationship. So I preempt. I go, hey, just letting you know, honey, sweetie, whatever weird nickname I have that day. Um, I'm a little out of it. This is not about you. I love you. You're doing great. So that she doesn't start getting in her head. Then
Mm-hmm.
we have that conversation about those things that we try to implement.
Okay. Wow, there's a lot of food for thought there. Like I'm thinking about people giving pushback that now we have to work even harder. But really, like you're saying that this is baseline. It's not about working hard. I don't even like the word hard, even though we might say that like relationships are hard,
Yeah.
but really with the right skills and tools, like if you know to do this, you learn what to do, you learn about communicating, you learn how to
Yeah.
communicate, you practice it, and it doesn't have to be quite that hard. Like any new skill that we learn that eventually gets easier, it really
Yeah.
does get easier and it becomes part of the fabric of your relationship as you're just sharing where you're at, you're checking in with each other, you're communicating,
Yeah.
and that shouldn't be the norm.
I think there's a really bad myth out there and a really bad expectation of relationships that once we're together for a certain amount of years, it should just be easy. We
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have to keep working on it. We shouldn't have to keep trying. It should just click into place. And a lot of things do, right? A lot of things do.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Yeah.
you believe that your relationship should just be, again, set it and forget it or plug and play,
Right.
you're missing this moment. You're not working on this moment. You're not trying in this moment. You're not making effort in this moment. And it's not going to be the same effort you made when you were dating. Of course, it's different,
Right.
but
Right.
it demands you to show up. And showing up looks
Yeah.
different every day and every
Yeah.
year. Each kid demands different way of showing up for each other. Each when
Yes.
you move, different jobs, different life stages, different health struggles, different successes, different failures. So if you think that you're just gonna like, oh, we've been together for 5, 10 years, why are we still trying? Well, you're giving up on your relationship. Is that what you're telling me? You're giving up. You got to keep trying. How you try, that depends on the relationship and what it's asking of you. But
Mm-hmm.
trying is a must. And I make mistakes every day, and I don't do my best every day with my wife. But I keep trying because I love her and I
Yeah.
care about the relation. I care about what it means. And I will say, for most people, the goal isn't 100% zero of positive to negative. Go for like 60, 40, 70, 30. Like
Yeah.
that's a reality where like there's going to be struggles, but there's more positives. And if you do the work, I'll give you an example. Over Pesach, this happened. Um, I'm very big into saying thank you and gratitude in our lives. And something my wife jokes around, I conditioned her to do this, that we always say thank you for the big and small things. Whether it's
Mm-hmm.
we talked about it, we made a plan. Hey, you did carpool and I didn't. Thanks so much. Right? Not that I'm kissing your feet and bowing down to you that you're the best, but this is the routine we have. Even if we discussed it, you're going to make dinner, you're going to do this, I'm going to do that. 1, 2, 3, break. And when it's done, thank you. Because it
Mm-hmm.
shows, and I've seen this happen with a lot of couples, especially men, they feel that the efforts they make are unseen and go unnoticed. So this is a
Mm-hmm.
really easy way to just show up and notice everyone. Whether it was discussed or not, thank you for picking that up. It's been
Yeah.
there for 3 weeks. I appreciate it. Thank you for putting your laundry away, but you do it every week. Who cares? I am
Right.
appreciative that you did it this week, right? So
Hmm.
we did it. I do it so much in my marriage, and we do it so much in our life that when someone doesn't say thank you for basic things, my wife's ears go up and she goes, "Wait, what's happening? Why are people not
Yeah.
grateful that we did this for them and did that?" Because it's not even an effort anymore. In the
Yeah.
beginning, it was a pivot. It was a change of a habit. It was something we had
Hmm.
to consistently try. But now it's
Yeah.
such a given that it's just part and parcel of our daily life. And that's all I'm asking with these tools is make it part and parcel. Pick one, try it, see
Yeah.
what happens. Just try one. That's all.
There,
It could make a
there's so
million.
many to pick from. Yeah.
Every chapter, there's a
Yeah.
takeaway tip or tool, at least
Yeah.
one.
Like staying curious. You had mentioned what you said about trying before. I mean, I agree. I think you just brought up two main points that I really love both of them. The idea of trying, because whenever you think you got something down pat, right? If you're a family unit, you're continuously over time growing. By growing, I don't mean expanding the unit necessarily, which might also be, but I mean also your children are growing, so you're going to be reaching different ages and stages. So there's constant navigation within the family unit.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like just because you mastered one stage or we know how to navigate this, but you're going to be coming up against something else inevitably. And the other thing about gratitude, I completely agree. I get pushback from that sometimes. People actually don't always like to thank for things that are expected. It's a bit of a debate. Like, do we thank for, and I agree with you. I think, like, why not? Gratitude is so powerful and it's so beautiful and it opens channels within you, like, it's just
No,
amazing on
so I
so many
will say,
levels.
if you look at the research by Phil Stutz, and who was like the documentary about him on Netflix, and he wrote a few books. The
Yeah.
guy who's dying and has Parkinson's, unfortunately. I wish the world knew about him earlier. Like, I really would have loved to go to LA and just follow him around for like a year and learn from
Mm.
him. I love his style of, but even without him, and just a simple concept for the people who push back on that. All you're saying is, I didn't have to do it. If you have a hard time with the idea of, well, it's expected, so why am I thanking you? What's the big deal?
Mm.
Uh, be an adult, grow up, right? All those pushbacks of, why do I have to thank you for what you should be doing? Because I didn't
Mm.
have to do it. And then you're just seeing the
That's a good way to
person
look at
for the
it.
you're just seeing the person for the efforts they make
Yeah.
daily, whether asked or
Yeah.
expected, discussed. You're not, again, this is not this like overly like, you're the best person in the world because you did the dishes
Right.
and that's your role in the house. No, you're not doing it. You're not being a silly goose about it. You're being real. Thanks so much for
Yeah.
doing this. I didn't have to. And then you're just showing up and saying, hey, what you are an important cog in the machine.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you're doing. You
It's so worthwhile.
without that piece, without that, take it away, it wouldn't get done. Or then
Yeah.
I would have to do it. And I don't want to do that. Good. That's it. It's not this like
That's it.
lovey-dovey, overly affectionate, big dramatic promposal that you have to do this crazy thing. You're just being very honest and simple. You did it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to. You mean something to that picture.
Exactly. It's not about being indebted or like you said before, like it's not you're not kissing anyone's feet and bowing. It's just there's there's a lot of value to it for sure.
Very
Um,
simple.
yeah. And the other question that I wanted to go over with you was not necessarily about anything specific in the book, but more the idea of what do you do when you encounter one spouse who carries the load? Like you did have a chapter about like the mental load and all that, but what happens when there is I come across this pretty often where there's one spouse who is carrying a lot of the burden, about a lot of definitely the emotional, sometimes other parts as well. Um, and their spouse isn't on board. Maybe they don't, I don't know, they don't want to read the book. They don't, this is not their thing. Like, what do you do in those cases? Or what would you advise
Oh, I
anyone
love
who's
that.
listening who's in a
So
situation like that?
if you're listening or you want to buy the book, read the chapter Mama Magic because I discussed it in that. And it's basically a love letter to my wife and to all women out there who research wise and anecdotally carry the mental load more than dads do. And I give two explanations, or not explanations, two ways to maybe help those situations. So I deal with this a lot as working with a lot of couples. Usually the wife is the one who brings the husband into couples therapy. And he goes like, I once had someone say like, I'm just letting you know I hate therapists. And I went, okay, well, I'm glad you're here. Let me try to prove you wrong because I'm not a normal therapist. I don't play those games. How does it make you feel? I'm very just normal. I talk, joke around. I'll make fun of you. You make fun of me. We have a good relationship. And then we'll get to the work. Don't worry so much. But thank you for telling me you hate me already. I appreciate that. Like let's start off strong. It's all about being honest with each other without pointing fingers. So the first part about the mental load or the doing a lot around the house, in life, the finances, the kids, whatever the mental load is, it is real
Yeah.
legitimate. It's overwhelming. Even if you look at Susan David's work in emotional agility, she talks about that idea of the hamster wheel, basically the brewer. Women are more
Yeah.
brewers. They're ready to go. Everything's right here. How many more hamsters can you shove into that wheel? Right? At some point, the wheel's going to break. And that's usually what women feel. They feel that weight, that things are just falling apart and it's going to break. So this is the reality. Number one, what I would do is, for anyone listening, is the idea of writing down all the things that you carry in your head every day. Brain dump it, so to speak. Put it on a list. And this is not a list to be used to go, see, you do nothing. This is a list to see how much you are doing and let the other person into why you are so tired, overwhelmed, losing your mind, so stressed, not attentive, distracted, all those things that you're somewhere else. Look at this. Look at how much I'm doing. Right? Again, not to be like, and you suck and don't do anything. We're not here to point fingers, because I have this line in the book called, we cannot quantify quality. Right? If you do 40 things and they do 7 or 5, what the 5 do to them is going to be different than what the 40 do to you. And if you flip-flopped it, it would impact them differently than their 5 things or 7 things did to you. We cannot quantify the quality of something. It's not about the number. It's about the drain of the list, the drain of the things we do. For one person being on top of the landscaper, the construction, and taking care of the taxes, and doing this and that, and the 17 emails that you don't see that are very overwhelming on their brain, and the meeting they had at work that a boss yelled at them, you don't know what that drain does to them. You're not
Right.
in their life, you're not in their head, you're not in that mental load. So it's not about pointing fingers and comparing numbers. Don't compare numbers. Compare the idea of the drain and the suck that it has on your life. Say, look at what it is. This is very hard for me. I'm drowning, I'm struggling. Part 2 about the list is there anything on this list that's in your wheelhouse? Anything. Pick 2. Can you please do it for me? It would mean a lot, because that's 2 less hamsters in the wheel weighing down the wheel and breaking the wheel. Just 2, 3, whatever it is. And if it's not something that's super, super important or super, super urgent, please take it from me. Or share the responsibility. Can we do this together? The whole idea is that the crown is very heavy for a lot of moms. All I'm suggesting is share the weight a little bit. Share the crown. Don't put your head down and, well, this is life and this is how it is, so I'm just going to muster through and suffer. Let someone in. I'm telling you from experience, my wife has told me some of the things that she worries about. Oh, and this birthday party and that, and I have to order this and do that. And oh, by the way, in 3 months, this is going to happen. I'm like, I didn't know you were carrying all that. I know the birthday party's coming up. I'm not an idiot. I know the birthdays. And I was going to discuss with you 3 weeks before. 3 months before, you're already worrying? I didn't know that. Let me in to what you're carrying so I can hold it with you, or take things off your plate, because my brain is working differently at a different time, at a different level, at a different angle to the world. My vantage point is different.
Yeah.
So if
And
I
this
don't
goes
know
back
your
to communication. Yeah.
exactly, because if I don't know your vantage point of the world,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to know what you're carrying? Right? I joke around that, again, sometimes my ADHD kicks in a little too much and I get hyper focused on cleanliness sometimes, or certain things around the house that my wife doesn't see. She's not doing anything wrong that she doesn't see that, and I'm not doing anything wrong by seeing it. That's my vantage point of today. But if I don't let her in and I'm just going, oh my gosh, do you see all this? And then I snap at her, yell at her, scream at her, or get nasty with her but she doesn't see the world that I see with my brain today, with my struggles and with my successes. So with the mental load, you're just trying to bring someone into your vantage point so they can go, oh, I had no idea you were worrying about something for next year. Why are you planning for that? What's going on? Let me help. What can I do? And if you,
So
and this is
hopefully
the,
they answer like that.
yes. So on that, the sassy point I have that I give to, if someone is unwilling to help you, if someone is unwilling to care, or if someone is unwilling to listen, right? They might not have to do something, but to listen and care for you. And they say they love you, and they say they have your back 100%, and they struggle with going, oh my gosh, that's a lot. What can we do? How can we figure this out as a team? And they go, haha, that's a you problem. You got bigger problems in your marriage, because it's not about the mental load. It's that this person doesn't even know how to support you when you're struggling. This person doesn't really have your back, even though they're saying it. It's the same thing I say when someone says, hey, honey, I really need your help. something's really bugging me, something's really a big struggle, and they honestly ask you for help and you go, screw you. That's a problem in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a communication issue. That's not like different wording would help. That's this person doesn't care about you when they're saying they care about you. They don't want to know what it
Mm.
means to be in a healthy
Yeah.
relationship or what it means to show up for someone. So it's a deeper
Yeah.
issue that they have to work on. So pitch it, talk to them about it, see how they're responsive. Of oh, honey, I didn't know you were worrying about all this. What can I do? That's someone who wants to show up, someone who cares and maybe is a little oblivious or invisible to your vantage point because they're not you. And it can really
Yeah.
open a really amazing conversation, potentially. Right? I can't promise
Yeah.
it's going to be magical, but it could open a really good conversation of what to do next.
Yeah. Okay. I'm really glad you said that because earlier in our conversation, you had said something about trying, like you have to keep trying, and I think that this balances that out very well because of course you want to keep trying and keep communicating and with all the new seasons that life brings, but also this point that you just said is so important that if someone is not willing to hear you out, doesn't know how to support you, like we're talking about a whole different issue.
Yeah.
Um,
And in the end,
so
if someone says, like, therapy's not for me, I understand that. But a lot of times it's, well, I know it matters to you, and I know you want to try this, and I know you want to figure something out, and I care about you and what you need, so I'm going to give it a shot, is very
mhm,
different than screw this is stupid.
mhm,
The idea of I'm not sure, I'm uncertain, I'm a little worried, I don't know how it's going to go, but for you, I'll do anything.
mhm,
That effort, whether it's successful or not, that consistently trying to show up, it really gives a light and sheds light on the person's viewpoint of their relationship versus someone who's like, don't make me read podcasts.
mhm.
Therapy. What are you? You can't handle it yourself, right? That shows who the person truly is. That's the issue you're dealing with is it may be the person, not you,
Yeah.
or not the fact that it can't be worked on with the right person.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I'm glad you said that. That's important to know. And I guess we can wrap up with that. Anybody who is like interested in working together with their spouse and learning about their spouse and knowing new ways of what to ask and what to look out for, like this book is full of great suggestions. Um, really, I resonated with so many, like as I was going through it, I just was resonating with like page after page. So it was really helpful, great. And I think it's like an easy read too. It's not like very heavy and very long. It's like bite-sized,
Yeah.
doable, and overall really, I think could be a helpful book for anybody who hasn't read it yet.
Well, thank you
So
so much for reading it and having me. I appreciate it.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for being on here to talk about it. And yeah, continued good luck.
Thank you so much. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.